All right, welcome to Algebra 2. So you should have two packets. One has this page on the front. The other one is some notes. You're just going to go through and work through those today, but here's a video of me showing you how to do some of it. So page 1 is this page with the vocab. Look it up. You can either look it up on your computer, your phones. You can look in the binder, whatever works for you, but you just want to get this vocab. Then we're going to go to naming polynomials. So polynomials are like an expression with all kinds of letters and numbers, which you learned with your vocab. And we can name them in two ways. We can name them by the highest exponent, which we call a degree, or we can name them by the number of terms. So if we go by the exponent, if the highest exponent's a 0, meaning it's just like 5 is our thing, that's a constant. If it's 5x, it'd be linear. Quadratic is 5x squared. Cubic would be cubed. Quartic would be to the 4th. Quintic would be to the 5th. That's how those work. Anything higher than that, you would just say degree of and use the number. The other way to name it is by the number of terms. So this would be one term, this would be another term, 3 terms, 4 terms. One term is a monomial, 2 terms is a binomial, 3 terms is a trinomial, and anything higher than that, you just fill in the number. So if we go to page 3, let's look at number 1. Number 1, the highest exponent is 4, so it's a degree of 4. And then we look at our terms. Well, we have 1 here and 1 here. That's 2 terms, so it's a binomial. Let's look at number 2. The highest exponent would be a 1, so it's linear. Degree of 4, I'm going to go back real quick. Quartic is the word you could have used. This one's linear, degree of 1. And then there's just the 1 term, so it's a monomial. And now let's look at number 8. 8 also has 1 term, just like 2, so it's a monomial. But this one has no letter. There's no exponent, meaning it would be 0 or a constant. So you're going to pause the video if you're watching the video, see if you can do the rest of the page. One big thing is when you're really doing this, if you ever come across one that has a negative exponent, it's not a polynomial. They can't have negative exponents. Polynomial. All right, next page. Page 4 is going to be your adding polynomials. All you're doing is combining like terms. You know how to do that. So you find the x squareds. These both have x squareds. 2 plus 1 is 3. Then we do the x's. So x plus 5x is 6x. Then we do the constants. 3 plus 1 is 4. And that's as far as you can go because there's no other like terms. So again, let's look at number 1. We have an x and an x, which makes 2x. We have a 1 all by itself. And then we have an x squared all by itself, so those just carry over. Now, technically, you can write them in any order, but to be correct, after you do that, you want to make sure you put them from your exponents from greatest to least. That's like the correct thing. So I'm going to do a couple more. Here we have 4x to the 4th, and 1 more x to the 4th gives us 5x to the 4th. Then we have 2x squared, or 2x plus x is 3x. Then we have an 11 plus negative 2 is 9. And this negative 3x squared is all by itself. Notice over here on the right, they're in order. So I'm going to do one that doesn't have circles yet, and then I'll leave you to it. So right here, we have an x cubed and an x cubed. 2 plus 11 is 13. Then we'll do x to the 4th, x to the 4th. Negative 7 plus negative 4 is negative 11. Then we have x to the 5th. That's the only one. And we have an x, so that's the only one. And now we want to put them in order greatest to least. So the 5th is first, then the 4th, then the 3rd, then just the x. So that would be our final answer. So you're going to go ahead and try 4 through 10. So there's 4 on this page, 3 on the next page. When you're done with that, go to subtracting. Subtracting is the same thing. We can turn it into adding, so it's literally the same thing. If I can zoom here. All right. So this top one has a minus. Then what they really did was they made it plus a negative. So up here they said plus negative, and then distributed that negative to x squared. They distributed the negative to 3x. Negative times negative is positive. And then they distributed it to the 12. And now you do the same thing we did before. 2x plus negative x is 1x. 5x plus 3x is 8x. 7 plus negative 12 is negative 5. Now, you don't have to switch it. You can just subtract terms. So maybe on this one, I'm going to do 3x squared minus 3x squared is 0. Negative 2x minus 3x is negative 5x. And 10 minus 1 is 9. That's fine if you want to do it that way, but make sure you don't drop negative signs. A lot of people that do it that way forget to subtract something that's not the first one. So you can do it as a subtraction problem, or we can do it as an addition problem. We turn this into an addition, change the signs of both things following it. Turn this into an addition, change the signs of both things following it. Don't change anything in the first one. Now we do our like terms. So y plus negative 2y is negative y, and then plus another negative y is negative 2y. Then we do negative y squared plus 2y squared. That gives us y squared. And this is where people mess up a lot, that you don't want to lose that negative. So this should be negative 3. Now, if we put those in order, we'd have y squared minus 2y minus 3. So you go ahead and try this page. So combine our like terms. You're going to finish 3 through 10. That's your subtracting. This next page has a couple examples on it. This is more practice if you want to. This page is optional. If you feel like you didn't do those other ones well, don't forget you can check any of your answers in the binder. This page is optional. If you feel good, you're going to move on to this formative assessment. It's on the back of a blank page. You're going to answer these 4 questions and pass this page in. So that's the black bin by my desk. That's going to get passed in when you're done. After you're done with that, we're going to go to multiplying. So if you have a number on the outside of parentheses, this is a binomial. Nope, that's a monomial. This is a binomial. To multiply those, we just distribute. You know how to distribute. 6v times 2v. 6 times 2 is 12. And v times v is v squared. Then we do 6v times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. And then there's a v. There's no like terms, so we're done. If we just have a number outside, it doesn't change anything. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. There's one v. And 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. So that's what's there. You are going to try 3 and 4. Now, for number 5, we have 2 binomials. So distributing becomes much more of a process because you have to distribute lots of things, and a lot of people drop things. So we're going to do what's called FOIL. FOIL is an acronym to help us out. F stands for first, and that's the first term in each binomial. So 2n times 6n is 12n squared. O is the outside, so we do the 2 terms on the outside. 2n times 1 is 2n. I is the inside, so we do these 2 terms on the inside. 2 times 6n is 12n. And then last is the last term in each binomial, so 2 times 1 is 2. Then just combine like terms. So 2n plus 12n is 14n. And that's our answer. It's as far as we can go. So I'm going to do one more. First is the first term in each. That'd be 8n squared. Outside are the terms on the outside of the problems. 4n times 6 is 24n. Inside are the terms on the inside, so 1 times 2n is 2n. And last is the last term in each binomial. 1 times 6 is 6. Then combine like terms. So we get 8n squared plus 26n plus 6. You try 7 through 12, so you're going to finish this page. Then when you're ready, go to the next page. Up here, this squared doesn't mean square both parts. It means you're squaring the whole thing, so there's technically 2 of them. So if you have a binomial squared, you have to FOIL, not just 4 squared and p squared, otherwise you forget the middle. If you feel like you need more FOIL practice, you can do 13 through 18. If you think you're good, we're going to go to number 19. So this is a trinomial. It's bigger. When one of them's bigger than a binomial, the easiest way for me to do it is to make a box. So this one has 2, so we're going to make one side of the box have 2. This one has 3 terms, so we're going to make the other box have 3 sections. Then we write it on next to it. So the 2 terms are 4a and 2, and the 3 terms of this are 6a squared, negative a, and 2. Now we're going to multiply the edges like a Punnett square. So for this square, we're going to do 6a squared times 4a. 6 times 4 is 24, and a squared plus a is a cubed. Then we're going to do, Then we're going to do this square. Negative a times 4a would be negative 4a squared. Then we do this one. 2 times 4a would be 8a. 6a squared times 2 is 12a squared. 2 times negative a is negative 2a. And 2 times 2 is 4. That part's just like a Punnett square, multiply the edges. Now we combine like terms. So that's the only cubed, so we have 24a cubed. Then we have these both are squared, so 12a squared plus negative 4a squared is 8a squared. Then we have the a's, so negative 2a plus 8a is 6a. And then the 4's alone. So there is our answer. I'll do one more with you. I'm going to do number 22. The order doesn't matter. You could take this box and you could make it 3 by 2 because the first one was 3. Or you can make it 2 by 3 like before. That's completely up to you. What matters is that you match the 3 terms on the side with 3 boxes. And you match the 2 terms on the side with 2 boxes. So if I multiply here, 2n times n squared is 2n cubed. And that's going to be the same as what I'd get here, 2n cubed. Then negative 4 times n squared is negative 4n squared. And we'd have the same thing here, negative 4n squared. This one's going to be 2n times 6n, so that's 12n squared, which we'll also have here. This one's going to be negative 4 times 6n, so negative 24n. 2n times negative 4, negative 8n. And then negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. So looking at these 2 boxes, it doesn't matter which way you set it up, you get the same pieces. Then we combine like terms. So we have 2n cubed, 2n cubed. 12n squared minus 4n squared is 8n squared. Then we have negative 24 and negative 8, so that's negative 32. And the 16 is alone. If you have anything bigger, if it's like a 3 by 3, if they're both 3 by 3s, like this one, your box is just going to be 3 by 3. That's fine. So you're going to go ahead and finish, and this is as far as you're supposed to get today. All right, let me know if you have questions.